Hi folks, Steve the Hurricane here. It's Sunday night, which means it's time for another exciting episode of A Drink with the Hurricane. Cheers. Time to get a refill. Now, for this week's episode of A Drink with the Hurricane, I want to take a moment and talk to you about how I feel about leveraging personal experiences or situations that we may be in towards getting business. Now, every person's situation is different. Every single person has something different to say about this. However, I know from some of my coaches, even from myself, whenever there's a situation where I have to go to a hospital or I have to see a physician or I have to go to a rehab center for a loved one or something like that, you should always use your situation as another means to communicate with somebody. Great example, right? When I broke my wrist, you see right here, there's a big scar. Now, I broke my wrist snowboarding a few years ago. I thought I was Shaun White, went on a half pipe. I had no business being on that half pipe, and I fell and I broke my wrist. I ended up getting 2 plates and 13 screws put into my wrist. Now, when I went to the hospital, but before I went to the hospital, when I went to the orthopedic surgeon in my area and I talked to him and his partner, I told him that, I'm here, this is what I need, blah, 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 whatever. And then when they asked me what I did for a living, I told them I own a private duty home care company called Care Choice, and I'd love to come in and do an in-service for you. And they were like, okay, maybe, whatever. So then they started telling me their recommendations, and they said that we recommend either you get cast, and you're going to be in a cast for like 6 weeks, or you can get surgery and be in a cast for a couple of days. We'll take it off, and then we can begin therapy right away. Now, which would you prefer? I don't know about you, but I'd rather be, in a cast for a couple of days and then be able to function and everything afterwards. And I used to drive a stick shift, so it made sense. Now, I said to the person, this is perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and do the surgery. But before I let you cut me open, you need to schedule an in-service for me to come back and talk about my services with your team, because I can provide help for all of your orthopedic patients who have hip replacements and knees and other joints. And they laughed so hard, they were like, sure, no problem. And sure enough, after I walked out, they introduced me to their office manager, who then scheduled a time for me to come in and do an in-service. Well, the day of the surgery, when I'm laying there underneath the gown and everything, and anybody's ever had surgery, you're not wearing any clothes under the gown, right? So I'm laying under the gown. I had nothing on except for a bunch of business cards in my hand. The anesthesiologist was about to put the gas on me so that I would go to sleep, and I said, before you give me anesthesia, before you knock me out, I'm going to make sure that every single one of you knows who I am. And I gave every single person a card. They laughed so hard, I thought that they were going to fall on the floor. And they were like, this guy is great or whatever. But after the surgery was done, after I was okay and everything that I came to, I had follow-up with all of those physicians, with the nurses. They introduced me to the case manager at the hospital that did the surgery, and so on and so forth. And I was able to get in there and to get business. So, yeah, obviously, if something happens to us, get the care you need, because that's most important. But why not kill 2 birds at 1 stone and have an opportunity, and you're giving them business, so why not use it to your advantage? See if you can get an in-service and grow your organization. Now, folks, every week I always talk about our Hurricane Marketing Bootcamp. We announced it last week, and 12+ people already signed up. Space is limited. I'm going to teach you so many things that you can't imagine the things I'm going to go over. And we have Valerie Van Boeven who's going to be there talking about internet referral generation, giving you that 1-2 punch for everything that you need to be able to blow away the competition.